The iPhone 17 Pro may be Apple's most solid design upgrade yet, but durability tests are already pointing to one problem that could turn into the phone's own version of Scratchgate. YouTube has a few channels that perform scratch tests and drop tests on Apple's new hardware. Let's take a look at some of the best ones that will give us a good idea of just what the heck is going on. Let's start with the most popular stress test, jerry-rig. Everything recently put the device through his standard stress tests and discovered that the colorful anodized aluminum finish is surprisingly fragile at one very specific spot, which is the sharp edge of the camera plateau, and his durability tests reveal iPhone 17 Pro's sharp camera plateau edges chip easily. Apple uses the anodizing process to make its aluminum frame tougher and more resistant to scratches. The raw aluminum is dipped into an acidic bath, electrified, and transformed into a hardened aluminum oxide shell that ranks just below diamond. However, the problem is that anodizing does not hold well on sharp corners, and that's exactly what Apple designed into the iPhone 17 Pro's camera island bump. Instead of rounding off the edges with a small radius, Apple left the plateau with razor-sharp cliffs that look sleek but expose the biggest weakness of anodizing. Jerry used a coin and a key to show that the flat surface of the camera plateau held strong, but the corners chipped off almost immediately, revealing the silver aluminum underneath. What this means is that wear and tear are almost guaranteed over time, and there is very little users can do about it, other than putting a case on the iPhone 17 Pro. Zach, also known as Jerry Rig, everything also mentions that international standards for anodizing specifically recommend adding a radius to sharp corners so the oxide layer can stick better. It appears that Apple's design team clearly chose aesthetics over long-term durability. The end result is that the corners of the camera plateau will scratch faster than the rest of the device. On the flip side, this does not mean that the iPhone 17 Pro is fragile by any means, and the annual iPhone bend test proves it. Zach noted that the iPhone 17 Pro didn't even flinch when it came to the bend test, and it is all thanks to the solid aluminum unibody design and the reinforced frame. Structurally, the iPhone 17 Pro is the strongest iPhone the company has ever made, but you have to take note that, according to Jerry, the scratch gate is real on the camera plateau, so be sure to put a proper case on it that covers the vulnerable spots. This issue affects the entire iPhone 17 series, except for the iPhone Air. The 17 series is made of aluminum. The Air is actually made of titanium. The reason for this choice of metal is because the Air is so thin. If you made an iPhone 17 Air out of aluminum, it would crumble like a Coke can because, well, Coke cans are made from aluminum and the Air is almost as thin as a Coke can. The Air model held up very well in Zach's bend test. In fact, in order to snap the Air in half, Zach had to come up with a clever way to snap it in half, and the results are actually pretty amazing. It took over 200 pounds per square inch to snap it in half. Now, the Air might be incredibly strong, but is not free from issues upon launch day. Apparently, the iPhone Air faces condensation complaints as early users report foggy patches inside camera lens after 1 day of usage. Just 1 day after hitting the shelves, the iPhone Air is already facing complaints from early adopters about condensation forming inside the camera lens. Reports on Reddit and Twitter show photos of fogged up lenses, which raises questions if Apple's ultra-thin iPhone can withstand real-world conditions. The problem appears sporadically, with some users reporting foggy patches inside the camera lens after a sudden change in temperature or humid environments. While the issue is not at all new to smartphones, it is surprising for a premium iPhone, especially since the company emphasized greatly on the design refinements aimed at durability. YouTuber Luke Manny shared the image on Twitter, stating that his brand new Day 1 iPhone Air had condensation in the camera. Another Twitter user who goes by the name of Dongle shared a few images of his iPhone Air and mentioned that, quote, "My iPhone Air has condensation in the camera. Maybe this is widespread," unquote. A user also posted on Reddit but later deleted the image, but from the looks of it, he too shared the same experience. It remains to be seen if the issue is widespread, and if so, it could fuel criticism that Apple went too far with the design in pursuit of thinness. Even if the condensation on the camera lens of the iPhone Air vanishes on its own, it could tarnish the reputation among early adopters. Some users have already speculated whether the problem stems from reduced sealing or differences in thermal dissipation compared to the iPhone 17 Pro models with a dedicated thermal management solution. If your iPhone Air camera has been a victim of condensation on the lens, it is wise to keep the phone at room temperature for extended periods, which naturally allows the water droplets to evaporate. Store or use the iPhone in dry environments and avoid sudden shifts between hot and cold settings to prevent the lens from fogging up again. Apple has previously acknowledged that condensation inside the camera lens is not normal and could lead to long-term hardware damage. It is too early to call it a widespread flaw, so we will wait for more reports before drawing a conclusion. We would advise you to follow Apple's advice to let the device dry naturally, and if it persists, then you should contact Apple support. Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Okay, now we can move on to the fun stuff. The drop testing. As in previous years, the iPhone's release date brings us more details about Apple's newest handsets than the first round of reviews, including the durability test that many iPhone buyers want to see. The first drop test featuring the iPhone 17 Pro Max is out on YouTube from Mad Matt, delivering an unexpected result. The glass on the front and back survived every single drop, from traditional heights of knee height to head height drops, with only the aluminum frame getting scuffs depending on the point of impact. By the end of the test, the YouTuber started throwing the iPhone 17 Pro Max up in the air to see whether he could force the glass to break. It didn't. The front and back ceramic shield glass survived being thrown in the air and landing on concrete. The iPhone 17 Pro Max still worked. The cameras were not harmed. The only real damage concerned the aluminum frame, which took a beating. Still, the main point here is that the iPhone 17 Pro Max is significantly more durable than expected. iPhone 16 series did not have such luck during early drop tests about a year ago. So the reason for the upgrade in durability is quite easy to explain. Last year's Apple flagship, the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max, are made of titanium. Titanium is very hard and very strong. When dropping the iPhone 16 series, the inertia of the impact is transferred through the strong titanium frame directly to the glass. The titanium frame does not give, and that shock wave is transferred directly to the front and back glass panels, ultimately shattering the glass. The new iPhone 17 series minus the Air is constructed of an aluminum frame. Aluminum is notoriously a soft metal. The new iPhone also has a new second generation ceramic glass from Apple. The new glass is stronger and more scratch and break resistant than the original ceramic glass. When the iPhone 17 is dropped, the aluminum frame actually absorbs the impact better than the iPhone 16 titanium frame. The new aluminum frame sure will dent easily, but that denting is the action that absorbs the impact and prevents the stronger, more durable ceramic glass too from cracking. It is a trade-off. The 16 series won't scratch or dent easily, but the glass will crack depending on the fall. The 17 series will scratch and dent easily, but the glass will not break. Apple chose to take care of the glass this year, and I get it. Users will have to use a case of some sort to keep the device looking good. Last but definitely not least, it appears the choice to move to aluminum to save the glass might have backfired on Apple a bit. Check this out. So I came across this user on TikTok. He just upgraded to the iPhone 17 Pro Max on launch day Friday, September 19th, and 24 hours later, He has a bent iPhone 17 Pro Max. That's right, a bent iPhone 17 Pro Max. It appears this aluminum construction is very soft, so this is actually pretty crazy. The iPhone 17 Pro Max is completely bent on the left side of the device, and on the right side, it is straight as a board. The last time Apple dealt with a Bendgate was when Apple released the iPhone 6. And there is something the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 17 have in common. Can you guess? Aluminum. It was such a big deal back in 2014 when the iPhone 6 was released. That is why Apple chose a different metal to construct the frame of the iPhone the following year and every year after, until we get to the iPhone 17 series, which is what we get this year. And Apple gets another Bendgate. The iPhone 6 is why we coined the term Bendgate. This has only been reported on 2 iPhone 17 series devices to date, but the iPhone 17 series has only been released for a few days now. Makes me wonder how many other people are going to pop up on social media showing off their bent iPhone 17 series device. Let's hope, for Apple's sake, that this is not going to be a widespread issue moving into the future. The user showing off his bent iPhone did not describe how it got bent. Back in 2014, the iPhone 6 was so easy to bend. You could put the phone into your back pocket, sit down in your car, and then you go to pull out your iPhone 6, and it would be a twisted piece of metal. Not all smartphone launches are smooth. In fact, most releases today always have a small number of users seeing some sort of issue. Whether it is an overheating issue with the Samsung Galaxy devices or the flickering displays on the new Google Pixel 10 Pro series, or even the green line on the display presented by a small number of OnePlus users. We just hope for the consumer's sake that this is just a small number of people. When you sell over 100 million iPhone 17 series devices, there is almost always going to be a very small percentage of people with issues. We just hope Apple and all the other phone manufacturers take care of their customers by issuing a warranty claim and a replacement. These phones are incredibly expensive and competition is very hot right now in the phone market. The last thing these manufacturers want is someone to go back to their competition. Only time will tell as to how many users are affected with fog in their camera sensors or bent iPhones, but if you want to protect your latest iPhone 17 series device to be scratch and dent free, simply put a case on it and go ahead and get a screen protector as well, just for good measure. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we are reviewing all the latest and greatest cases, screen protectors and accessories for your device. Take care and take care of your tech.